Hello students, welcome to English 215 African American Literature. My name is Dr. Elena Koch and I'm really excited to be teaching this class this semester. It's one of my favorites to teach because we get to spend the semester reading some really great stuff and then discussing it. The purpose of this video is just to introduce you to the class. So the first thing I want to do is go to our D2L site. So here we are on our home page. If you are new to Prairie State, welcome, and you haven't used D2L before, I would encourage you just to get to know it. It's pretty user-friendly. When you log in, you'll see announcements, and I will use the announcements frequently this semester whenever we need to change the schedule or what have you. But we'll spend most of our time here in content. If you look under the table of contents, the first thing you'll see under course information, syllabus, schedule, etc. is the syllabus and detailed schedule. And then under weekly content, you'll be seeing that every week I will post the to-do list, the things that you need to do, as well as content that you need for the week. Okay, but let's go back to the course information and the syllabus and the schedule. Again, please read this over very carefully on your own time. Here are a few things I want you to be paying attention to. First of all, my contact information and virtual office hours. I'll talk with you more about that in a minute. The course description is here. I think you've probably seen this already. English 215 is a survey course, which means that it covers a lot of literature. It's an introduction to a lot of material. And we go over a lot of things kind of briefly so that you get a broad lay of the land. We're going to be reading a lot of literature by Black American authors. We'll be reading poetry, a couple of slave narratives, a couple of novels, a play, and lots of short stories. So we'll get introduced or reintroduced in some cases to some really wonderful African American authors. As you know, this is an online class. I realize that you might not have chosen this course if the world were normal right now. But I think this is going to be a great opportunity for us to learn in new ways. I've taught online a bunch of times before, and I think this will be a really fun way to get introduced to the material and to discuss it together. This is an asynchronous class, meaning that there's never a virtual class experience where we all have to log on at the same time. It's asynchronous, meaning that each week you do the work at your own pace as long as you meet some deadlines. Okay? I'll be providing you videos and reading guides to help you with the material, and we'll be using the discussions quite a lot as well. For one-on-one help, I will definitely be available to you for that, so you're not going to be on your own. To succeed at an online class, I've taken an online class before, so I can tell you from experience and from what all the experts say, it's really important to set up a routine as much as you can. I know some of you have hectic work schedules and you also are caring for family members perhaps, so it might not be possible to stick to that routine every week. And it's also going to be super important to communicate with each other and with me. We'll start the first week by introducing ourselves so we can get to know each other. Again, you're encouraged to reach out to me as often as you need to. If you're worried about the technology for this class, we have Chromebooks to lend to students for the entire semester. There's a link here to click if you want to apply for that laptop lending program. All right, so here's what you should expect most weeks. This class will require at least 9 to 12 hours of work per week. That includes the 3 hours you would normally spend in the classroom and the 6 to 9 hours you would spend reading, preparing, doing homework, writing papers, and those kinds of things. So what I would encourage you to do is break those hours in half and spend about half of those hours in the first week doing the reading. And then in the second half, you're going to be spending that time posting and discussions, taking a quiz, and so on. So most weeks this semester, this is what the routine will look like. By noon on Monday, hopefully earlier, all the weekly content will be available to you on D2L, and you should complete that reading in the first half of the class, or at least as much as you can. Your first deadline in the week will be a Thursday when you make a post on D2L about what you read. I'll give you more information about that soon. And then on Saturdays, you'll respond to at least 2 classmates' posts. You'll read each other's posts, read my posts, and then the weekends with a short quiz on the readings. So you will have had time to read the discussions and learn more about the texts before you have to take the quiz. In a couple of weeks, you'll have a larger writing assignment due. A couple of weeks, we have Thanksgiving and so on. But this is generally what most weeks will look like. And remember that if you want to keep your Saturdays open, you can do the Saturday deadlines earlier. Okay, let's also talk about the fact that we're in the middle of a pandemic. These are unusual times for sure. And I really hope that through the entire semester, everything goes smoothly for all of us. But if we encounter some obstacles along the road, I guess what I would ask you to do is keep in touch with me as much as possible. If you get sick, if someone in your family is sick, if that leads to financial hardships, or if you're being made to work extra shifts at work, any of those things could definitely make it harder for you to get your work done this semester. So just try to keep in touch with me. This is true also if you're a parent or if you are responsible for taking care of siblings or parents, or if you lack technology to do online learning. Again, I just ask you to keep in touch with me so that we can get through this together. All right, there's a lot of resources available to you under content in D2L. I'll show you that in a minute. I've also tried to build in some cushion in the class so that if you have a rough week, it's okay. For example, you can do poorly on or skip at least or up to 2 quizzes without any penalty. So your 2 lowest grades will be dropped. Same with your discussion assignments. Your 2 lowest grades will be dropped. That means you can either skip a couple, or if you don't do so well on those, that doesn't have to sink your whole grade. Extensions are also available, and the final assessment will be open book and open note. So I hope these things will help you to succeed this semester, even if things get a little rocky. Again, though, if you need help with anything, if you have worries, if there's anything you think that I can do to help you, or if you think I might be able to connect you with resources at the college, please let me know. It's most important to take care of your own health, and then hopefully everything else will fall into place. All right. Required books. These are the books for the class. If you're not able to get the books in the first week or 2, you should be able to find all the information on the internet or on D2L. For the first week, I've posted scans of the readings. You'll need The Underground Railroad in a couple of weeks and Song of Solomon later this semester. If you're unable to afford textbooks, remember that the Prairie State Foundation Office offers some financial assistance. So there's a link here you can click if you want to apply for financial assistance for textbooks. Okay, so obviously if it's an online class, you need regular access to a computer or a notebook and a strong internet connection. The really good news is that Prairie State does have Chromebooks to lend for the semester. You can click on this link to apply. You'll also need access to Desire to Learn, which you obviously have right now, and your Prairie State email account. I'll be using email a lot this semester to communicate with you individually. Remember, you can use D2L to send me email, but if you want to read my response, you have to go to your PSC email account. There's no way to read your email through D2L. All right, so grading. There's a 900-point scale for grading this semester. You can see how that breaks down here. And occasionally, I will offer bonus points in my posts or in the videos. I might offer you a couple bonus points if you post something in particular, an answer to a question, something like that. Okay. I'm skipping ahead. Remember to read all this more on your own time. So here are my biggest tips for doing well. The research shows, first of all, that getting to know who you're working with in an online class is actually really helpful. There's a big connection between online success in a class and taking the time to get to know who your professor is and getting to know your classmates. So this week, make sure to introduce yourself on the discussions. Make sure to pay attention to who your classmates are and what they're saying, and we can build a nice online learning community together. Second, it's a literature class, so obviously there's going to be a lot of reading, and some of the texts that we're reading are a little tricky, or they're going to demand your close attention. Every week I'm going to give you a reading guide. I'm skipping here to letter B. That will help you focus, I hope, give you some things to look for. Don't give up if the material is difficult. Just keep going. And if you ever have questions, you can ask about that in discussions. It's normal to find some passages trickier than other passages, and it's normal to be confused in places. So never hesitate to ask questions this semester. Back to letter A. See what you can do this semester to give yourself a focused reading environment to block out any distractions. Now, again, I realize that in some cases that's kind of hard. I'm a parent, I have kids, I have a couple of pets, I have a lot of distractions myself, but see what you can do to try to limit those as you read for this class. Remember what you've probably heard before about reading on paper and taking notes while you read. If those things are possible for you, that might help your focus. That might help the comprehension as well. And then read with a dictionary. All right, 3, watch the videos that I'll post each week. They will give you some context. I will try to keep these videos very short so that you'll be able to understand more about the material without it taking too much of your time. But the videos are where I would give you the information that I would give short lectures on at the beginning of class. 4, take discussions seriously. I've mentioned that before. 5, you'll have quizzes, discussion posts, writing assignments, and your final assessment to show me that you understand the material. 6, regularly check D2L announcements and PSC email. And then 7, again, ask questions when you need it. Now, assignments, I'm going to be providing a lot more information about assignments as the course progresses, so I don't want to spend a ton of time. For now, please read carefully what I say about discussions and know that there's a separate handout on this already under content for D2L. Take a look at this. I want to emphasize this next part about communicating with me. Okay, I alluded to this before. I really want to keep in touch with you and offer you individualized feedback on your work. When you have questions or concerns, I am on my email a lot during the day. I'm sitting in front of my computer most days for much of the day. So when you email me, I'll usually get back to you fairly quickly. If I don't get back to you within 24 hours, send your email again, please. Just use common sense guidelines for email. Also, this semester we can have virtual conferences if you want. If you click here, you'll get to a Calendly link and you can sign up for a virtual conference for office hours. You do not have to have your camera on if you don't want to, although I'd love to see you. But we can meet together individually during office hours. Remember, my office hours are times that I set aside specifically for this reason. So you will never be bothering me if you want to set up a conference. Okay? Please read over the other information in this syllabus. Here and also in our D2L shell, I've provided links to extra resources you might need this semester. There's a page here about avoiding plagiarism. It's pretty easy to find plagiarism, so make sure when you post on D2L discussions that you're posting your own words and not something you cut and pasted from some crappy website. And then finally, our tentative schedule is here at the end. This is likely to change depending upon how our pacing goes, but here is the information you'll need to know for this week, the things that you need to do. Let's go back to the table of contents. You will see the discussion post assignment here for you to look over. Okay. Again, if you go to weekly content, here is the same information that's in the schedule about what I'd like you to do this week. And here are links to this week's reading. This is a folk tale. Here's a reading guide for Wheatley. And here are the poems by Phyllis Wheatley and Jupiter Hammond. You could also Google the titles if you don't have the book yet. Okay. I'm out of time. Email me if you have any questions. I'm really looking forward to working with you this semester. I hope it's a great one.